after watching this movie, should we stop eating so much popcorn and watching so many movies? Okay, let's keep the movies. Maybe substitute the popcorn for salad. Huh, Lilu? Okay, I take that as a no-go on the salad. Keeping things the same. All right. I agree, Lilu. We're perfect the way we are. Lilu, it is time to buckle up and talk The Well. The Well is a poignant and powerful film that tells the story of a 600-pound man who essentially has decided to eat himself to death after the death of his lover and years of repressed guilt and grief. I mean, what would a Darren Aronofsky film be like without a protagonist that doesn't slowly suffer throughout the film? In case you haven't heard by now, the 600-pound Charlie is played by Brendan Fraser. Being a fan of Brendan Fraser was pretty easy growing up in the 90s. You know, raised on movies like Encino Man, Airheads, and my personal favorite, The Mummy. Unfortunately, the always likable Brendan Fraser had a pretty visible fall from Hollywood grace, with a bad divorce and going into depression and disappearing completely after being sexually assaulted by a former president of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. Yeesh. So when there was buzz of a possible renaissance brewing, I was more than anxious to see him in his first leading role in a film in more than a decade. That's a long time, Lilu. I mean, I've always liked Brendan Fraser, but could he actually pull off such a deep and dramatic role? I was also very interested to join the very heated debate of this film, as its subject matter has created early Oscar buzz, but also lots of backlash for body shaming. Lilu, we don't believe in fat shaming, do we? You fat poodle. Obviously kidding. Don't cancel me. I'm just kidding, you little perfect poodle. You're just a cutie. You're just a cutie.
Very boring minutes later.
Yes. Yes, he's so excited.
Guys, enough!
Obviously, to play a 600-pound character, Fraser needed the appropriate prosthetics and fat suit to play the part of Charlie. I mean, if you had someone like Christian Bale, I mean, maybe he would actually gain that much weight. But we all know Christian Bale, he's crazy. To say this film is just Brendan Fraser in a fat suit would be an extreme disservice to the film and his performance. This isn't Eddie Murphy in Nutty Professor or a fat bastard from Austin Powers. The prosthetics only are to serve the story, as Fraser's performance was a revelation and hit me hard. Hit me hard, Lilu. I didn't see Brendan Fraser in a fat suit. He was just Charlie. And boy, can Brendan Fraser act.
I need to know that I have done one thing right with my life.
He has room in this film for those big emotional Oscar moments, but more importantly, very subtle, beautiful, vulnerable moments that can rip your heart out. And those eyes. Those eyes! His eyes said more than many actors can manage with performance using their entire body. I had no idea he was capable of such a performance. And I hope he continues giving us dramatic performances in years to come. I would say the main theme of this film is grief, which all of the characters in the film seem to share. Each character is dealing with that grief in various and different ways. These characters are broken because they have, given up on themselves. His daughter is now cold and bitter. His ex-wife turns to drinking. And even the missionary in the movie, he turns to stealing and drugs. While this film is definitely Brendan Fraser's, the other performances from the co-stars are also fantastic. I mean, Hung Chow, I hope I'm saying her name right, Hung Chow, in particular, should be nominated for Best Supporting Actress. I mean, if there's someone that could try to steal a scene from Brendan Fraser in this movie, it is her. She is phenomenal. And Sadie Sink from Stranger Things, she definitely not only proves her acting chops, but she is definitely someone I'm going to be on the lookout for in the future. She should have a bright career. Now, some critics have targeted the movie for not casting a more obese actor for the part. I personally think that is just silly. It's like saying Tom Hanks couldn't be cast in Philadelphia because he didn't have AIDS. I say this as a person who isn't exactly thin, because your weight is not exactly your identity. A person can become big or small, and it doesn't have to necessarily change who they are. Right, Lilu? Yeah. Little owl look. Lilu, you sassy thing. Now, the harshest of the criticism seems to focus on the film language of the movie itself. Charlie is often shown in unflattering and repulsive, lingering camera movements. And basically, it's basically misery porn. Personally, I relate this film to another film that snagged another actor a Best Actor statue. And that would be Nicolas Cage in Leaving Las Vegas. Another film that is just such a joy to watch. And by joy, I mean it is painful. It is painful watching this poor human being drink himself to death. And this movie has so many parallels to that movie. I mean, you are watching the Brendan Fraser character, Charlie. He's just cramming in, doubling up pizza and just stuffing it in his face. It is painful because they are literally trying to kill themselves. There's nothing flattering here. This film is similar in that the protagonists are slowly killing themselves, and it isn't very pleasant. It's just not a pleasant experience. I think the moments, that may linger too long on his weight are basically reminders that this man is doing this to himself. And it speaks volumes when you pair this with the haunting vulnerability of Brendan Fraser's performance and, what he is able to convey. It's not about him being fat, but the fact he is destroying himself and how that is affecting his relationships. There's maybe, one shot in particular that I did not like, and that is, there's a scene when he's just eating regular and, has all the drool and everything on his face. There's really no need for that. It's just given that stereotype of like the fat, slobby person, some weight. But, other than that scene, I think the other shots that people had complaints about of, him showering or whatever, I honestly don't think they are very sensationalized. I mean, you and I know, and the character knows that they're supposed to be upset by the size of what he has become. And I think he's in a little disbelief of what he has become. He is trapped at what he's supposed to become. And his body is a reminder of what he did to himself. In the end, this is not a pleasant film watching experience. All the characters have issues and are struggling or suffering. It makes it even harder when we see the beauty in Charlie as a character, and we battle between both revulsion and empathy towards him. It is a simple film with actors absolutely lighting it up. They're lighting up that screen with phenomenal performances. Without these performances, I'm not sure that this film would have had the same effect. I mean, especially Brendan Fraser, because I think in another person's, given the opportunity, another actor in this role would have literally been an actor in a fat suit. And that says so much about what I think of Brendan Fraser in this movie. Like I said, it's the acting that, brings this movie home. And, it's just a simple story. I would give this the edge at the Academy Awards to win Best Actor. But I do think it is going to be between Brendan Fraser and my favorite, Colin Farrell. So we will see who wins coming next year. Obviously, being a Darren Aronofsky movie, there is a lot of religious subtext in the movie. Even though on the surface, this might seem like a film that is, rejecting faith or religion, I do believe that, knowing that it's Darren Aronofsky, there's a lot of themes of redemption or, what makes a person good. You're going to find all of these religious themes in the belly of the well, as we should say, huh? Lilu?
Whoop-de-doo! What does it all mean, Basil?
This film earns an easy green light for me. That's right, a green light! Woo! There's certainly been better movies this year, but I'm not sure if there's been a better performance. And I'm not just talking to Brendan Fraser solely. I mean, just as an ensemble. It should definitely win for the SAG Ensemble Award. Ensemble, Lilu. But be warned, because this film packs such an emotional wallop. It's like, boom, right in your face. I must say that bringing popcorn to this movie was also kind of a mistake. I got halfway through and I was like, I lost my appetite and I feel awkward eating. So maybe don't load up on the snacks on this one. Just a little advice. Lilu, I just don't understand how people can be so destructive, putting themselves in harm's way. Holy sh**! Lilu, are you self-destructive? Do you just want a treat in your self-destructive food obsession? Yeah, you'll do anything for food. Am I an enabler? Yes, I am.